Hey, welcome to Apostolic Praise Basics, a crash course and focus in the basics and major and minor chords. In this course, I'm actually going to start completely from scratch, from the notes and everything. We've had a lot of requests from people that say that, AP 101 moves a little rapidly, it moves a little quick, a lot of information in it, and they really feel like they need to just get a better and clearer and more comprehensive understanding of just major and minor chords and playing with those. So this course is going to focus specifically on just doing that. So let's start from the top. So we're first of all going to learn just the notes on the keyboard. We're going to start off, of course, your keyboard starts with, if you have a full-size keyboard, it starts with an A at the bottom. Okay, if you don't have a full-size keyboard, don't worry about that. I'm going to show you how to recognize it even if you don't. Of course, you can look at the diagram in your study information as well to see where the notes are. But basically the way it works is music has an alphabet just like you learn an alphabet in school. The difference is with a musical alphabet is it stops at the letter G. Okay, so you've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then it's going to start over A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's no H, there's no I, no J, nothing after G. Now the way it works on the piano, the white notes are the alphabet letters. Okay, so I'll tell you what I mean by that in a minute. But the white notes are going to be like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The black notes have two different names each. They have what's called a sharp name and what's called a flat name. And we'll go over what those mean here in just a minute. So let's learn the white notes first. So the most important note that you can learn is called middle C. It's in the very middle of the keyboard. And this is actually where you kind of want to revolve everything around. This is where your right hand is mainly going to play when you're playing the piano, is around the middle C area. So this is middle C right here. You can see how the keyboard is divided up into 2 black notes, 3 black notes, 2 black notes, 3 black notes. This note is always to the left of the 2 black notes. So this is a C here. This is also a C here. See how it's to the left of the 2 black notes? This is a C here, a C here, C, C. So go ahead and play all the C's on the keyboard. Pause the video if you need to. Now the next note up is going to be a D, okay, right? Because D comes right after C. So this is a D note. So it's in between the 2 black notes. So go ahead and play all the D's on the keyboard. Pause the video if you need to. E is going to be the next note up. It's to the right of the 2 black notes. So go ahead and play all of the E's on the keyboard. All right. F is going to be your next note up. It's to the left of the 3 black notes, okay? So go ahead and play all the F's on the keyboard. Okay. G is going to be the next note up. This is a G note right here. It's right above the F. It's kind of in the middle of the 3 black notes on the left side, I guess you could say. Okay, so play all the G's on the keyboard right after the F note. Okay, now this one here is A. It's also in between the 3 black notes, but it's on the right side in between, all right? So A. And your last note here is B. It's to the right of the 3 black notes, so B, 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 B. Here's a B, here's a B, and there's a B. Everywhere a B, B. All right, so those are all of the alphabet letters. So you've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And of course, remember, middle C is your C right in the middle of the keyboard. If you have a full-size keyboard, it is 4. It is the 4th C up. It is the main note that you want to focus on, and you want to keep your right hand around that area when you play. We'll show you how to play here in a minute. Can't wait to get started doing that. Now the black notes, each one of those has 2 different names. It has a sharp name and a flat name. The sharp basically looks like a tic-tac-toe sign. You can look in your homework and study information for what that looks like, but it basically looks like a tic-tac-toe sign, the pound sign on a phone, if you will. So what sharp means is go up, okay? So this is a C note, as we just learned. So if we go up on the piano is this way. Down is this way because it gets lower the farther down you go. So when we go up, going to our right, this is C sharp, okay? This is C sharp note. So go ahead and play all the C sharp notes on the keyboard. It's the left of the 2 black notes. All right, this is D, so this is D sharp. Go ahead and play all the D sharps on the keyboard. It's the right of the 2 black notes. This is F, so that's F sharp. Go ahead and play all the F sharps on the keyboard. Okay, this is G, so this is G sharp. It's in the middle of the 3 black notes. Go ahead and play all the G sharps in the keyboard. Pause the video if you need to do that. This is A. Go ahead and play all of the A sharps on the keyboard. This is the 3rd of the 3 black notes. Now, that's the first name. Each black note also has a flat name. Flat means go down. You can think flat means down because the ground is flat. The ground is down. So this is D. This is D flat. Remember, flat is going this way on the keyboard. It goes lower and lower to your left. So D, D flat. Play all the D flats on the keyboard. Same note as C sharp. Depends on which way you look at it, C sharp or D flat. Okay, this is E flat because this is an E, so we go down from E, that's an E flat. Play all the E flats on the keyboard. This is G, G flat, A flat, and B flat. Now, I generally refer to the notes by their flat name, but it all depends on what key it's in, so you want to know both of them and be familiar with which ones they are, even though we generally, in gospel Pentecostal music, use the flat name. Okay, so those are the notes. Just wanted to go over those very quickly for you. If you need to at this point, you still don't get it, go back and watch that first part of the video a couple times. Look in your study information as well, and do that until you have a full understanding and get the names of the notes down pretty good. Like I said, play every single note, go through and do the whole shebang. All right, so here we go. Let's learn what are called chords. Now, chords are basically when you play more than one note at a time. So generally we play the chords in the right hand. When you become more advanced, you'll play chords in the left hand. Some schools of thought start out teaching you chords in the left hand. We don't do that because that's not very useful for what we're trying to do. We're trying to teach you how to play the piano for gospel Pentecostal style. Generally, beginners will start playing with the chords in their right hand. When you become more advanced, you can start playing them in your left, and then doing other things in your right. So, basically, how you make a chord, there's 2 kinds of main chords. There's one that's called major, and there's one that's called minor. The major ones tend to have a happier sound, the minor ones tend to have a sadder sound. So, your major chord is basically made by starting on the name of the chord you want to make. So say I want to make a C major chord. So I'm going to start on C. I'm going to go up 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my next note. Then I'm going to go up 3 notes. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So your C major chord, or your C chord notes, are C, E, G. Okay, go ahead and try to play those all together. Now when you hold your hand, you want to try to hold it like you're holding a tennis ball or a small ball. You want your hands to be curved. You don't want them to be tense. You want your wrist to be kind of level, your elbow kind of level with your hand. Your wrist is not bent. It's straight. Very important to do that. You don't want to give yourself bone or structural problems later on. So you want to start off playing the correct way. Your fingers are kind of just resting lightly on the keyboard. Alright, so that's a C major chord. Okay. Now the next chord you want to learn is F major chord. Let's start on F. Play F with your thumb. Go up 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. A is your next note. Let's go up 3 more notes. 1, 2, 3. C is your next note. You kind of notice with these chords, you're basically just skipping every other white note. That may be a tricky way you can think of it at first, but you want to memorize the pattern. 4, 3. Go up 4, then up 3. Let's build a G major chord. You probably know how to do it by now, but play a G note with your thumb. Go up 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play a B, then go up 3 notes. 1, 2, 3. There's a D. So your G major chord is G, B, D. Okay, F major chord, F, A, C. Alright, so those are your 3 main major chords that we're going to learn for the key of C. Now there's also what are called minor chords. Minor chords are made the opposite way that a major chord's made. So let's say we want to make a D minor chord, okay? So play a D with your thumb. Now with major chords we went up 4 and then up 3. With minor chords we're going to go up 3 and then 4. Let me say that one more time. With major chords we go up 4, then 3. With minor chords we want to go up 3 and then 4. So let's make a D minor chord. If you look in your study info, the little m after the chord stands for minor. Lowercase m means minor. Okay, so D, go up 3, 1, 2, 3 is F. Go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 is A. So D minor chord is D, F, A. Alright. Let's do E minor chord. So play an E. Go up 3. 1, 2, 3. Go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's E minor. E, G, B. E, G, B. Okay, let's make an A minor chord. Start on A. Go up 3. 1, 2, 3. Go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A minor is A, C, E. All right, so there's your three. These are actually your three main chords for what we consider the key of C. Now, let me explain what the key of C means to you. But first, I'm going to play the chords for you one more time. So you have C major chord, F major chord, G major chord. You have D minor chord, E minor chord, and A minor chord. Okay. Now, what we basically do when we play the piano in church is in our right hand we'll play the chord, in our left hand we'll play a matching bass note. Now you notice if you watch a bass player that's playing in church or a concert or whatever, he generally only plays one note at a time, most bass players. Most of the time he's playing one note unless he's doing a solo or something. But that's what your left hand is going to do. Your left hand is your little bass man, and he is playing your bass note for you. Okay, so with a C major chord you'll play a C note. With an F major chord, you'll play an F note. With a G major chord, you'll play a G note. With a D minor chord, play a D note. E minor, play an E note. And A minor, play an A note. Now, that's basically playing with chords, playing church music in a nutshell. Alright, now all you've got to do is add some life to them. You've got to add some rhythm to these chords. So you're going to take what I generally do in our books for teaching purposes is we use slashes for beat marks. So what that means, when you're going to see, like for instance, a C with 3 slashes or 3 lines after it. What that means is on the C, when you see the name of the note, play both hands together. When you see the slashes, only play the right hand. Now that's a very basic way of playing. Most songs, when we're playing, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when we're playing, we're going together, 2, 3, 4, together, 2, 3, 4, or together, right, 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 together, right, right, right. That's just a very basic way of playing. Now, go through and play the exercise songs that are found in your study info. You're going to have the C, exercise song 1. Right, F, back to C, G, okay? So you're going to have those exercise songs to play. I'm not going to play through all of them, but go ahead and play those, practice those until you get them down pretty good. So that's how you play just basic chords, the major chords, minor chords, and the key of C. Now you keep saying, now you're probably saying at this point, what do you mean key of C? We have what is called a major scale. And what a scale is it's a pattern of notes that are played in a certain order. So the C major scale, major scales is typically it's like our basis, like our skeleton, our foundation for music. So the C major scale is simply played, the notes in it are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. If you look at the cheat sheet for major scales, you'll see the fingering, which is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is your fingering. Then play it back down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. That's going to be your basic fingering for playing the most major scales, but especially for C. And of course you can practice that, get faster until you have it down. Play it. Of course when you play it, you practice it, play it nice and evenly, but eventually start playing it faster, and that will help you build finger strength and also build dexterity and speed in your fingers. Okay, so now one cool thing that I like to do with these chords is make up my own patterns. Okay, so let's do that. Take a minute and just play with those chords and just kind of make your own patterns up. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay. One thing that I like to say is I don't that I teach a lot of my other courses is that I don't like major and minor chords because they sound boring. But you actually can, and it's hurting me to say this, but you actually can make major and minor chords sound good. There is a way to do it. actually take them and play them with different rhythms. And this is one thing that I really recommend is just kind of jamming out. If you've got a keyboard, maybe take and play some drums on it. Have some fun with it. So you can actually take and make up your own songs just with these chords. I mean, these are basic chords, but you actually can do a whole lot with them. Same thing with the minor chords. You know, throw some of those and make some patterns up. You can play a lot of stuff just using the 1, 4, 5. I'm using my Roman numerals here. I'm getting away from myself. You can use a lot using the C, F, G, the A minor, the D minor, and the E minor. You can play a whole lot of stuff with just those chords. Now, if you get a chorus book out or something and you see chords that say like D minor 7, D minor 9, A minor 9, F major 9, don't worry about that kind of stuff for now. You can boil any chord down to its basic name, whether it's a major or minor, and you can play it. Almost every single chord that there is, you can do this with it. You can take them, and if it says, you know, C7 or C9, you can just play the C. If it says A minor 9, just play A minor. Just erase the number, get rid of it. The one thing, there's a couple of chords this doesn't apply to, and that for one of them, it's called a diminished chord. And you know, for diminished chords, we're going to learn about those probably in our next lesson. But diminished chords and augmented chords, there's a couple of chords that are a little bit different animals that you can't quite get away with that. And we'll go over how to fix that problem. All right, so that's how you play your chords. Now, one really important thing, I know we just learned the key of C. One really important thing to do is to learn these chords in different keys, okay? So C is going to be your main key because it's the easiest key to play in. There's no black notes in it. It's an easy key to do stuff in. So that's what we're going to mainly focus on in this lesson is the key of C and how to just kind of play with the chords that are in that key. Now you can play pretty much any song in the world just using C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, and A minor. But you're going to notice there's one key that we've kind of stayed away from in this major scale, the C major scale. We haven't done anything with the B. Now, the B is generally what we do with the B is play what's called a fraction chord with it. You're going to see a lot of fraction chords when you play gospel music and when you play off chord sheets and different stuff. Fraction chords basically, like it'll say F/G. Now what that basically means is if it says F/G, the F is going to be played in the right hand, the G is going to be in the left hand. Okay? So if it says F on top with a slash and then a G underneath, think about it like this. The F is on top. Okay, the top of the piano is up here. It's the high part. So that's where your right hand plays. The bottom of the piano is this part. So the note that's on the bottom of the slash is going to be played in the left hand because that's the bottom of the piano. So you'd play an F major chord with a G over here. Now let's say that it said C on top slash E on the bottom. Okay, C is on the top, so we're going to play a C major chord because our right hand pretty much is always going to play a major chord. And then our left hand is going to play the bass note or the note that's on the bottom. So C over E. Okay? We see that chord a lot, C over E. In the key of C, we see that a lot. Another chord that we see a lot is G over B. Okay, so that's where our B comes into play. Most of the time when you have a B note in the key of C, when there's a B bass note, you're playing a G major chord over it. So if you would see that as G, which is on top, slash B. So you have a G on the top, which is the top's in your right hand, G major chord, and then B's on the bottom. So G over B would look just like that. Now, let's teach you a couple of cool songs that you can play, and literally all you're going to do is walk these chords backwards in the major scale. One song that you probably will know is a song by Andre Crouch, Jesus is the Answer. Okay, now that song simply goes like this. Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him there's no other. Jesus is the way. Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him there's no other. Jesus is the way. Okay, now what we did, we just walked the major scale backwards. In fact, our left hand literally went C, B, A, G, F, E, D. And then, of course, we went to a G and back to C. And then we repeated that. So what our right hand did is just like what we talked about. It started off with a C major chord. We went to a G over B. G in the right hand, B in the left hand. A minor chord. G major chord. F major chord. C over E. So C in the right hand, E in the left hand. D minor. And then G major chord, and then back to C. So if you can play that song, you can probably pretty much play any song in the key of C, because that uses every single chord that's naturally found in that scale, in that key. Okay, now we're playing each one of them twice, so we're doing together, right, together, right, together, right, together, right, together, right, together, right. Just 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. At the end of it, it does something a little different. It goes on the second line, but you probably heard me do that. I can go back and practice it. So that's Jesus is the Answer. When I think about the Lord, you probably know that one too. It uses the same progression. When I think about the Lord, how He saved me, how He raised me, how He filled me with the Holy Ghost, how He healed me to the uttermost, and etc., etc. Same over and over again. So we basically just use the same progression. So do you see the power of these chords that you can literally take and play almost any song in the world? This is how I overcome. You can play almost any song just using these basic chords. Now, one thing that may bother you at first is that you're not playing any melody. It's like, oh, well, I don't recognize the song. And you're right, that's very important. You don't recognize the song because you're just playing the chords. Most people are not just going to recognize it because you're not playing the melody. So one way that you can start learning to play the melody, one really cool thing about music, and since you know the major scale, this is really going to help you out a lot. We use what are called diatonic notes. Now, that's just a fancy word that basically means you're playing notes in between the notes of the chord. So basically what it means is if you want to do a little fill, you can actually play the notes that are in between the chord notes. So you can actually play here. You've got a C major chord. A little fill you could do, you could use D as a little fill-in note. So, alright, you see what I did? Da, 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 da. Same thing here. Da, 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 da. Okay, you just play the note in between C and E as a filler note. You can do the same thing in between E and G. So da, 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 da. You're just playing the notes in between the notes of the chord. Now you can do the same thing. Now you've got between G and C, you've got, since your notes in your chord are C, E, and G, you can also play the notes in between G and C as a little fill, but you have two options. You can either do G, A, C, or you can do G, B, C. Okay, so there's one option there, so you see what I did? Okay, so you could also do that right there. Use G, B, C. You're just playing the notes in between the notes that are already found in the chord existing, and you're kind of making up some little cool fills and runs like that. Now, who's to say you have to play it up? Why couldn't you play it down? So, all right. Da, da, da. Same thing. You could maybe go, instead of E, F, G, go G, F, E. Now we're doing this. I'm using the same concept on the other chords as well. Okay, now I just did, instead of G, B, C, I did C, B, G. Look how pretty that was. Okay, you could also do C, instead of G, A, C, do C, A, G. And then the G over B, and then the A minor. Now I'm doing the same concept over the other chords, if you notice. I'm doing, over the G over B, I can do G, A, B, or I could do B, A, G, or I could do B, C, D, or D, C, B, or I could do D, E, G, or D, F, G. Maybe not D, F, G. Now, this is where you kind of got to be careful, because some of these filler notes, even though you're still playing notes in between the chord, some of them aren't going to sound good. So you're going to have to kind of experiment a little bit and say, hey, what doesn't sound good? What does sound good here? But here's the G over B. A minor, same thing. You could use B as a filler note between A and C. You could use D as a filler note between C and E. And you can experiment a little bit, see what would sound better between E and A. If it would be an F or a G. Now, if you don't get this concept at first, we're going to go over it a few more times. This is just a brief introductory to how you can kind of fill in a little bit. Even though you're just using major and minor chords, you can still fill in and do stuff in your songs. Alright, so don't want to get into inversions yet. We'll learn that next lesson. Okay, so Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him there's no other. I'm sorry, I did an inversion. Other. Jesus is the way. Jesus is. Now, of course, you don't want to always do the same feel. Kind of get old. You heard me doing the same thing every time there. They can get a little old. Now, that's where some of the other tricks will come in. And we're going to learn inversions in our next lesson. We're going to learn a couple of other little tricks that you can use to make, even though all you know right now is major and minors, you're still going to be able to sound pretty good, and people are not going to know that you're just playing major and minors unless they're an accomplished musician and they can just recognize them by ear. All right, so that's the key of C. That gives you a brief overview of how it works, how to play in the key of C. We're going to explore some other keys here in our next lesson as well. And God bless, excited for you getting to learn some cool stuff here. And can't wait to hear some good reports. God bless, see you for your next lesson.